all for December.
All of the ones
we
you're gonna rate.
I'm gonna try to. As you can see by the thumbnail or title of the video, or the fact that I have two people sitting with me, we have...
Bryce, why are you rubbing your face as soon as she starts talking?
As you guys might be able to tell from the thumbnail or the title of the video, or by the fact that I have these two sitting beside me, today's video is gonna be my fiance and my best friend slash roommate choose my December TBR. I've actually had both of them choose books on my TBR list before, but I don't typically record it. Although I do have a video where Victoria chooses my next read over on my TikTok channel. If you want to check that out, I will have it linked in the description box. I thought about a lot of different ways to do this video because in the past I've like given Victoria a stack of books and let her just pick one, or I've had Bryce literally just go through my entire bookshelf and pick ones out, but that tends to get complicated because some of them I've already read. So instead, I'm giving each of them a pairing of books that are gonna go head to head and have them choose which of those two. There's 7 pairings in total. Each of them will be choosing a book from 3 different pairings, and then at the very end, I'm gonna have both of them pick one book from the stack of books that didn't get chosen, if that made sense. If you've been watching my TikTok videos or probably my other reading wrap-ups here on YouTube, you'll know that I'm really behind on my Goodreads reading goal. My goal is to hit 75. I'm way behind that right now, and I really don't think it's realistic, but I am gonna try my best to hit it. So that means I need to have a lot of books on my TBR for December. The way the video is gonna work is I'm gonna hand one of them a pairing of books. I'm gonna briefly explain what the books are and why I have them going head to head, and then I'll let them choose. You guys can do it based on the cover if you want. You can read the back. You can ask me like a synopsis of it if you want to base it off of that information, or literally however you want to choose it. But I'm interested to see what happens. We have some interesting pairings. You're gonna go straight on the cover.
Straight cover.
So our first pairing that's going head to head is a thriller pairing. So the first one we have is Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. I've read books by her before and I really enjoyed them. This one, I believe it got turned into a movie or a show. I can't remember which. But it's really popular, but I do also hear people say it's really dark and twisted and that like some people can't stomach it very well. So that's option 1. And then option 2 is 5 Survive by Holly Jackson, and I read another series by her called The Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I really liked it, and I'm currently reading the novella of it. This is just a standalone, and I don't know, I've heard good things about it. I think this one's just like a YA thriller, and then the other is more of an adult thriller. So
I already have my choice. This one.
this one.
Yep.
Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. Why did you pick this one?
Just because I like the aspect of it, like being super dark. I feel like that would be super interesting. The fact that some people can't stomach it. Yeah. And I don't know. I liked the cover better, and it looks a little shorter.
Okay.
So
yeah, this one is definitely shorter, so I'm excited. And this one was actually on my TBR for November, and I never got around to it, so I'm glad to have it back on the December TBR. Our next pairing are kind of hefty books, and I'm giving these to Bryce to choose for a specific reason, and that's that one of these books is in a series that Victoria has already read, and I don't want her opinion of that to sway the series or the choice. And that is because the first option is The Brothers Hawthorne by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is a spin-off of the Inheritance Games trilogy, which I loved. She did not care for the first book as much.
I read it really slow.
You still liked it. But
I still liked it. But
like I was obsessed with it. She didn't love it as much. And I also have heard mixed reviews about this one. Some people didn't love it as much as the original trilogy, so I don't know. I still really want to read it. It is a little bit longer, but I think this one follows the perspective of Jameson and Grayson instead of the girl from the Inheritance Games, and it's like a spin-off. So that's option 1 for you. These are also, this one's a mystery, a YA mystery. The other one is called Throne of the Fallen, and I made these going head to head because this is also a spin-off of another trilogy that I read called Kingdom of the Wicked. I read The Inheritance Games and Kingdom of the Wicked around the same time, so it kind of made sense to make these two books go head to head since they're both spin-offs of trilogies that I read around the same time as each other. This one is a like witchy fantasy romance inspired by the 7 Deadly Sins. I really enjoyed the original trilogy. Here's your 2 options.
This one.
This one?
Yep.
Bryce has chosen Throne of the Fallen by, also this is by Carrie Maniscalco. I believe I'm saying that right. This is a long one, but I've also heard people say they fly through it. So hopefully I will also enjoy this. And it's fantasy romance, so I'm obviously gonna probably like it. Next for Victoria's next 2 picks, these are both short little Christmas reads.
This is all for December.
This is all for December.
All of the ones
All the
you
ones
think
we
you're gonna
picked.
rate.
I'm gonna try to. These two are both little Christmas books that I ordered solely for the purpose of needing short books to fly through, and I feel like holiday books in December obviously just makes sense. However, this genre isn't normally my taste. I'm not big into like cheesy, hallmarky feeling romances, but since they are so short, I feel like I would enjoy them and just be able to fly through them. I don't know anything about what either of these are about. All I know is they're holiday romance and they're short. So the first one we have is 'Tis the Season for Revenge. Like, it's literally tiny compared to most. 'Tis the Season for Revenge is option 1. Baggage Claim is option 2. And I kind of already have a feeling which one she's gonna choose.
You think I'm gonna pick that one?
Yeah, because it's got skiing on it. Yeah, I have no clue. I think this one might be like workplace romance. This one I have literally no clue, but they're both short, and I honestly have no preference between them.
I was about to pick this one because this is interesting, this little
The cover?
devil. But I'm gonna go with
You're
that
gonna go with Baggage Claim?
Yeah.
Okay, so Baggage Claim by Julia Smith is officially added to the December TBR. Okay, so moving on to Bryce's next choices. These I'm now kind of wishing I gave to Victoria to choose because I feel like she'd actually... We're just gonna keep this with Bryce. So the first option we have is The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. This is a thick one, however, I've heard this series compared to my favorite series, the ACOTAR series. And so I think I would like it. I don't know a lot about it, but I do know it's fantasy romance and it involves like some type of trials, so maybe a little Hunger Games-esque. So I'm really excited to read this one, but I am a little intimidated by it just because it's so long. And then my second option is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. Once again, I don't know much about what this is, but I do know it's an adult fantasy and a lot of people have been hyping it up lately. This has kind of like been new to popularity. So I don't know, it intrigued me, so I ordered it. And I don't know, I've heard this one's like a little bit more of a mysterious fantasy, and then the other one's more like romance heavy. So I'm excited to read both of them, but it's up to Bryce to choose.
This one.
Why?
Because you already have a bookmark in it.
Wasn't a bookmark in it.
Probably this one still.
Okay, why?
The cover's cooler. That's
You like
literally,
the cover cooler?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's literally it. What are they about?
So this one, all I know about this one is that there is a world where there's some type of plague or sickness that has cursed people, and like once you have the plague, it doesn't necessarily kill you, but you have it for your whole life and you're struggling with it. Other people don't, and the magic system in this world is based on cards, and it's said that like if one person can collect all the cards, they could end the plague. But it's kind of a mystery about trying to collect the cards. I don't really know a lot about this one. Something about the main character has like this thing called Nightmare, and it's like a power she has, but it's like it's like a voice in her head. Okay, this one, I know that it's maybe vampires. Human or vampire, the rules of survival are the same. Never trust, never yield, and always, always guard your heart. I think it's like the main character is the daughter of like this king in the world they live in, but she's human and she somehow ended up in this world. I obviously don't know those details. And then she enters into a series of trials where the person who wins is given like basically ultimate power, and she ends up making allies with someone who's her enemy.
That one.
So still this one.
Yeah, because vampires. We just
Vampires,
finished
I
Vampire
knew.
Diaries.
Yeah. Really excited to read this one, but I'm a little scared. But adding it to the TBR. Victoria's last pairing that she's choosing from are both two contemporary romance books. The first one is by Abby Jimenez, Part of Your World. I read Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez last year and didn't expect to love it, but I loved it. I finished it in like one sitting. So I literally went and bought all her other books, and this is actually a companion novel to the one I already read. I don't know anything about this other than it's contemporary romance, and it's the girl is like big city and he's small town, and she like ends up stranded in the small town. Something like that, I'm not sure. Then we also have Loathe to Love You. I haven't read that many other books by this author, but the reason I bought this one is because it's 3 books in one. It's technically 3 short stories in one book, which on my Goodreads goal could count towards 3 different books, but don't let that sway you if you want to choose the other one. But all of the stories that this author writes revolve around like women in STEM, which is really interesting. Not like my field of work or interest necessarily, but the one book I did read by her, I thought it was really cool to like read a main character that was super smart. So I think that's kind of the vibe in all of her stories. I don't know much about the short stories in here, but that is option number 2.
Did you like
I loved it.
You loved it? I have to go with this one because I like the cover, and she said she liked the other one, and also I don't know, that just doesn't really appeal to me.
I may end up still getting around to this one at some point, just because, especially if it's the end of the year and I'm like not reaching my goal and I need 3 more books or something. Might read this just because it counts for 3 books, but I am honestly more excited to read Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. The camera angle might look a little different now because I ran out of storage and we had to switch to Bryce's. But this last pairing for Bryce to choose between, I am the most nervous for because I really want to read both of these books, and they're similar genres. They're both like sci-fi dystopian, but I've been putting them off and I don't really know why. First, we have Red Rising, which is probably the top most hyped up book on the internet right now. It's by Pierce Brown, and it actually came out quite a while ago, and it's sort of just now gaining traction with people who don't prefer the sci-fi genre already. And that is what intrigues me the most about it, is that I've seen people who are like big romance readers or big fantasy readers, big thriller readers, and still rate this book a 5-star. It's been compared to The Hunger Games, but in space. That's one option. And then we also have Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I believe I'm saying that right. This one I know a little bit more about. It's a dystopian fiction about a society that is overpopulated, and so certain people, when they come of age, are chosen to be scythes, which are basically executioners, and they're given like random names to go kill, essentially to help control the population. And the main character gets chosen to become a scythe, and she doesn't want to. That's all I know kind of about the premise of this. I own this entire trilogy, and this is probably the book that's been on my TBR the longest. Like, I've owned this the longest without reading it compared to like any other books I own. So I feel like I needed to include it and make it an option.
That one.
This one?
Yes.
Why?
Because the idea of the people getting chosen is pretty cool.
Okay.
That's really all I know.
Okay. So Scythe is on my TBR officially, and fun fact, I actually a couple months ago had you pick books off my shelf, and you did choose this one. Like randomly. Like, I didn't give him options. You picked it off my shelf.
And you didn't choose it?
Well, I had it on my TBR, but that doesn't mean I'm going to read them all. It's just like, this is my list that I want to get to.
Yeah.
And I never did. So, probably a sign that it's back on my TBR. Lastly, we have a pairing that is a little more random, and I'm going to have them together choose which one I'm going to read. So both of these are the second books in romance series. So the first book is Daisy Hates by Jessa Hastings. This is like Gossip Girl if it took place in London, and it's very like toxic relationships and drama. Like, that's kind of more, it's more about their lives, but there is romance in it. I've read the first book more recently, like a couple months ago. The first book was Magnolia Parks, and this is also one of the most talked about books on the internet right now, and it's supposed to be getting adapted into a show. Do you guys want to know what I rated the first books in both of these things? Sure. I rated the first book a 4-star. I liked it a lot, but like I said, it is toxic relationships, so that like kind of bothered me. But everyone says the second one is better, so I have that. And then the other one is Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. It's really long. This is in the Knock 'Em Out trilogy. I read the first one like almost 2 years ago, and I've just been putting it off simply because it's so long. I think I rated the first book like also maybe a 4-star, but that was also back when I kind of first started reading, so I think my opinions on it might be different now. This is a small town romance, and I know it's like rivals to lovers maybe. The main guy character whose perspective it's from is a cop in the small town. Both of these are books that like I'm not totally obsessed with either series, but I do want to continue, so that's why I put them head to head.
Which one are you picking?
1-3. Ready?
No, you pick first.
No, we have to pick together.
At the same time.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, go.
I chose this one because, I don't know, I think the toxic relationships would be interesting, and also, you did say that it's very talked about, and that if you liked the first one, but this one's supposed to be even better, then you'd probably enjoy that a lot. And then I've also seen this author, and maybe
I've read other
ones,
stuff
but
her,
I don't know. I just haven't heard a
You
lot
said
about
that
it.
you didn't like the toxic relationships in this one. That's why I picked
But I
it.
didn't really love the first one of this either. Like, both of the first books I liked, but I didn't love. So why did you pick this one?
Well, because I literally, the only thing was you didn't like the toxic relationships of this one that it talked about, the first one. So I was like, if she didn't like the first one, the toxic, if that's the same thing.
Okay, you guys have to decide. I'm
No,
not
you
giving
can
any
pick.
more input.
I think we go with yours.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we'll go with yours.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
It's
go-
shorter too, so
We're gonna go with Daisy Hates by
probably
Just a
easier
Hastings.
read, faster.
It
Yeah,
will
it's also
be, and
shorter.
hopefully I like it more than I liked Magnolia Parks. Last bit of the challenge is gonna be, we obviously have a huge pile of books they said no to. I'm gonna lay them all out in front of us and have them pick. Each of them will get to pick one book from the did not get picked list. There are books on this list, I'm not gonna tell them, but there are books on this list that I really wish had been picked. So I'm gonna let each of them choose one. They don't know which ones, and there's also some on this list that I'm like kind of like I don't really want to get to around to it soon necessarily. So
This is
we're
scary.
gonna
Yeah, it is
see,
stressful.
and whatever it is, I'm adding it to the TBR. So to refresh on what our options are, we have One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. It's a fantasy mystery. Then we have Red Rising by Pierce Brown. It's a dystopian sci-fi. We have 'Tis the Season for Revenge by Morgan Elizabeth. It's a holiday rom-com, I think. We have The Brothers Hawthorne by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, a spinoff of the Inheritance Games. It's a YA mystery. Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score, adult small town contemporary romance. Five Survive by Holly Jackson. I believe it's YA, but I definitely know it's a mystery thriller. And then we also have Loathe to Love You, and this one is like contemporary romance. Also, that's the one that has 3 books in one.
I'm scared.
So whenever you're ready, just choose.
I want to go with the Loathe to Love You because you said the stem and it's in 3 in 1.
Okay.
I like the idea of the stem, which obviously has nothing to do with you, but that's what I do. So I think that's the one I'm going to pick.
Okay. Are you locking that in?
Yeah. I'm going to let Victoria go first.
Okay.
But
So
tentatively, that's the one I'm going to lock in.
I don't know. My first instinct was to go with Red Rising,
Okay.
but I also was scared maybe that was the one you didn't want to get to because how do you even say that?
Scythe.
You placed it with that and he had already picked that, so maybe you were purposely doing that. But also I feel like with like the Hunger Games and stuff, everything we've been watching right now, it just
Yeah, we did
it's a
just
nice
watch the Hunger
flow.
Games all together. So
and we
I-
watched Divergent too.
Yeah.
So, but then 'Tis the Season for Revenge was my second choice, just because it seems very like.
Why don't we do this? You can both pick one from the stack, and then I'll pick one from the stack to
Okay.
also add
So-
after you all have picked.
I'll just
You all go first.
I'll just stick
Alright.
with mine.
Then I'll lock in this one too, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so Bryce went with Loathe to Love You, which was one of the ones I don't even remember what I put this up against. Oh, I had this up against the Abby Jimenez book, and I love Abby Jimenez, and I do really want to read that next book, but I also did want to read this one simply because it's 3 books in one, so I'm glad to have this on my TBR. I definitely will be getting around
figured you would
want
I
that.
definitely will be getting around to that this month. And then I did want Red Rising
Oh, you
over
did?
Scythe.
let's go.
I
Oh.
did.
Let's
I
go.
put them against each other. I had Red Rising on my TBR last month, and then I just didn't get to it, not for any particular reason. But it's actually not that long, and the only reason I put Scythe on there is because it has been on my TBR before, and they're like similar genres, and both the covers were red, so I was like, it makes sense. But I am glad Scythe's on there too, but I am really excited to add Red Rising.
Or are you picking one?
I didn't really want The Brothers Hawthorne or Things We Hide from the Light. I've been putting this off
What?
for a while.
That one
Originally.
in our challenge.
Oh, yeah,
I
almost
don't
did.
know what it is. I liked the first book, but it's so long, and honestly, I really don't think any romance book should be that long if it's just contemporary romance. So I've been putting that one off. Eventually, I'm gonna read it, but it's not really in the forefront of my mind. So that I'm not choosing. The Brothers Hawthorne. The reason I didn't really want it is because I've heard people say they didn't like it, and I loved the first trilogy so much that I don't want to have like negative feelings towards it. And this one is also pretty long. 5 Survive, I do really want to read, but considering there's already another thriller on this list, I don't think I'm going to choose this one. Last 2, I do really want to read One Dark Window. And if I didn't have other fantasy, like a lot of other fantasy on here, I probably would add this one, just because it seems really good. But I have I have 2 fantasies and 2 dystopian sci-fis already on the list, so I feel like I might need to balance it out a little bit more. And I'm gonna go with 'Tis the Season for Revenge, simply because it's short and it's holiday, so if I'm not gonna read it in December, I'm probably not gonna get around to it until next December. So we're adding this to the TBR.
So 10 books, so 3 a day, basically. Or not 3 a day, one every 3 days.
One every 3 days.
Yeah.
So here's our list. Let's recap it really quick.
Oh, that'll be good.
All the books are falling.
Oh no. That's a really...
That is crazy.
This is a really ambitious TBR, and I say this every month when I make my TBR video that I already know there's no way I'm reading all of these, but I do like to have options because I am a little bit of a mood reader, so if I make a really short specific TBR, I'll feel like I have to like read them in that order, where I might want to like branch off and read something else. So I like having options to choose from. I will also add, before we recap the ones that got chosen, the sequel to Divine Rivals is coming out this month. I have it on pre-order. It's called Ruthless Vows. I will be reading that the day it comes. And then I also have like the 5th or 6th book in the Play to Prisoner series coming. I haven't read that series since like over a year ago because that was when the previous book was released. But I really enjoy that one, and I probably will get around to that towards the end of December, and that may be something I'm reading like going into 2024. So that is 2 other books that are on the TBR. But from what my fiance and my best friend chose, I will be reading Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell, Daisy Hates by Jessa Hastings, 'Tis the Season for Revenge, Loathe to Love You, Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco, Scythe by Neil Schusterman, Baggage Claim, Juliana Smith, and, oh, this isn't even the last one, Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent, and lastly, Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Which one do you guys think I'm the most excited for? Just curious.
I think Red Rising.
I think so too.
Well, then Red Rising.
I think I'm the most excited for Red Rising just because I've heard really good things about it. But I'm also
think the holiday one.
I'm also excited for both the holiday ones.
What are you least excited for?
Probably the longest one.
This.
I'm probably Serpent and the Wings of the Night, or Serpent and the Wings of Night is hard because I do really want to read it, but it gives me stress that I'm trying to finish my reading goal and it's so long. Same with Throne of the Fallen. Those 2 are probably the ones I'm most intimidated by, but I'm not unexcited to read any of them. Yeah. Thanks guys for being on the channel and choosing my December TBR. We will find out at the end of the month when I do my reading wrap up if I actually get around to all of these books and what I thought of them. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more of my content, specifically book related, head on over to my TikTok. It'll be linked in the description box, as well as my Instagram if you want to follow me over there. And be sure to subscribe to see more videos like this, and comment below, have you read any of these books and what did you think of them? And also, were there any that didn't get chosen that you think I absolutely should be reading soon? Thanks for watching. Bye guys.
Bye.
Adios.